All right, Joy Taylor, take it away.
Thank you, Lynn. Welcome, everyone. Woo-hoo! Hollywood. It's a beautiful day here in South Florida. I'm happy to be here. My name is Joy Taylor. I am the co-host of The Herd on FS1, weekdays, noon to 3, and also the host of the Joy Taylor Show on Fox Sports Radio, and I'm very happy to be here with you today. So let's keep the energy up. Thank you all for coming, and I want to introduce our amazing panel of incredible women, starting with Marquita, Kate, Camille, and Tanae. Can you guys each please introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Marquita. I've been modeling for more than half my life, which is a crazy thought. Mental health advocate, and I'm so happy to be here speaking with you guys about mental health.
Brilliant, yeah. Hi, I'm Kate Bock. I am the veteran of Sports Illustrated. I've been here 10 years, which is very exciting, and I'm so excited to celebrate this weekend with all of our ladies.
Yes.
Mental health is a very close and personal issue in my life, so I'm excited to talk about it, and it's not an issue. It's something we all have, and everyone can deal with it.
That's right.
Not an issue.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm excited to get into this.
Woo. Get Kate.
Hi everyone, I'm Camille Kostek, and I haven't been modeling for that long. I can count on one hand, or maybe almost two. But I think a lot of the times when we do interviews, we talk about how this is about being more than a model and breaking stereotypes and breaking down boundaries about being part of this brand. So these conversations are really like what I live for. Like I'm already buzzing, I'm already vibrating. Like these are the moments we live for. If we can touch somebody in this room, or if something we say can help enlighten you to enlighten someone else, like this is what it's about. So I'm excited to get vulnerable, get honest, and allow you to get to know us beyond the pages of the magazine and social media today.
Let's go.
How do I follow that?
Today you're a breathing light.
Hi everyone, I'm Tanae. I'm actually a winner of the 2020 Swim Surge, so
Yeah!
out there, hey! Definitely a mental health advocate for sure. Actually, last week I just hosted the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention's Lifesavers Gala. I lost a friend at 16 years old to suicide, and I also am a person who battles with depression and anxiety, so I'm really honored to be here talking with you guys today.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes, today.
So this is the Brave Together panel presented by Maybelline, and Sports Illustrated Swimsuit Pay With Change and Maybelline Brave Together have joined forces to drive awareness for mental health issues that affect women everywhere and break the stigma around therapy and amplifying key voices, decreasing stigma, and opening the conversation, which is what we are going to do today here with Sports Illustrated and Maybelline and these amazing women. So let's get right to it. How does mental health and what does mental health mean to you? Let's start with you, Marquita.
Oh my God, I think mental health is so important. To really understand yourself and what triggers you and what sets you off, to understand your boundaries and to trust your intuition, I think those are things that I have really struggled with my entire life, and it's taken me a long time to get to where I am. But therapy has been a huge help for me. I go to therapy. Love it, highly recommend it to everybody. Like a weekly thing. It's become a part of my life that just sort of helps me in every aspect, to just be able to speak to somebody that you've gotten to know and trust, a professional that can just help you deal with any issue you might have. Because at the end of the day, you know, we are all humans and we are all so similar despite our different lives. Like the things that we've dealt with in childhood, the trauma we've had to deal with, the ways that we find to cope. Like, just listen to yourself, listen to your intuition, and grow.
Okay, what does mental health mean to you?
I think it's just so important to make sure that you have a foundation and you have people in your life that you can go to, whether it's a therapist, whether it's a friend, an aunt, a cousin, whether you're paying for them or not, just have someone that you can talk to, because I think everyone thinks that everyone else is fine and they're the only one that has an issue or that's suffering or struggling with something. And when you actually put it out there, you realize everyone is dealing with something and you usually have no idea. So I think there's just a good balance that you have to have of having a solid support system. Doesn't matter if it's a teacher, it could be anyone, just kind of let it out. Because I always find when I keep it in and I get more and more stress, like anxiety builds on the inside. So whether you're journaling, whether you're talking to a professional, whatever it is, I think it's just making sure that you're clear in your head and you you kind of identify your feelings and get them out and then move on.
I think we're going to hear some keywords throughout the panel. Marquita said boundaries, Kate said balance. Camille, what does mental health mean to you?
I think I don't really actually know the definition of mental health, but in the simplest terms, we have our physical health, and then we have our mental health. And when I think about what does mental health means, it means, okay, if I'm feeling good in my body, but my mind isn't right, I can't even perform physically correct. I can't show up for others, can't show up for myself, and if I can't show up for myself, I can't show up for my relationship, for my family, for my friends, and for anybody at that point. So I am so big, we'll talk about it. All of us are always so busy. We even appreciate you all finding the time to be here today to have these conversations and hang out with us. But mental health to me, I would say, is checking in with you. Mental health is something where you need to constantly check in with you. I thought someone just said Camille. I was like, hello. I just think finding ways to control our thoughts, quiet the mind, quiet those outer forces and those outer voices, and prioritizing what's important, who's important, what are you allowing in, from social media to coworkers to strangers to people even just hollering something at you out the window. Just closing that out and understanding you are in control of how you feel, how you think, and what you allow to affect on the inside of your body. So I think just mental health is really finding that clarity. We will all talk about the things that help us mentally. I know that we're all figuring it out every day. Self-love is a journey, and I say journey with emphasis because you constantly are evolving and growing and getting knocked down and picked back up, and when you feel at your highest, you hit that low again and have to find that up. That's life, baby. So we're all in this together, and that's what I think it means to me.
Well, it's such an evolving thing for each of us, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
We're all trying to figure it out. But a point that I think that you made that is amazing is we always think of just our physical health, like running, working out, and we eat, and taking care of our skin and all that. But your brain makes you do everything. My brain is telling my hand to do this right now, and talk and everything else. So it's physically part of your body as well, and we kind of separate it, and that's, I think, where a lot of the stigma comes from. Today, what does mental health mean to you?
I'll keep it simple. I would say how your mind vibrates. That's mental health to me. Going back to what Camille said, when we break our leg, we go to the doctor. When we cut ourselves, we put on a Band-Aid. When we're sad, or like maybe a really deep, dark version of sad, a lot of times you just keep it internalized. We don't go to see someone. So I love that Marquita talked about therapy. I actually just started going to therapy during the pandemic. Better late than never, but I think mental health is really about how you vibrate on the inside, and as Camille said, it reflects on the outside. And I think that for me, the first, I want to say, 15 years or so of my life were very hard, very dark, and I did not see anyone. And I'm just thankful that God or a higher power pulled me out of it, which is why I'm glad to be here today, because now we can talk about that openly. 10 years ago, we weren't talking about mental health. We weren't talking openly about depression. We just all internalized it.
I know. It's
Look at that.
incredible.
We're aligned in this moment. This is
Like the
don't you feel
butterfly,
this
you grow.
Yeah, that's the vibration. There she came.
Don't you feel like for me,
I mean,
this is therapy.
Yes.
This is therapy for me right now.
Yeah.
Like this, I don't do this
No, I
every
think
day.
we're actually really lucky that we get to talk about it because it kind of reminds you and brings you back to like your core, and you remind yourself when you speak what you actually think. Because sometimes you don't like communicate with your brain. You're just in a place and you don't kind of get it out there. So speaking makes such a difference.
And we were all talking about how we didn't know, even if we were sent them, we didn't really do our homework and check the questions. So I think I almost prefer that, so that we can really speak from the heart and be honest and truthful. And there have been some times where I do get really raw and real in here, and I'm like, did I regret that? And never once have I. So thank you for being SI, creating a safe space, and for all of you allowing us to feel good, because a lot of you are very familiar faces to us. You've come year after year, so you take a lot of the advice that we give, because we did the same thing to be in this position here. And even if you're someone who doesn't even strive to want to be a part of the brand, like we said, none of us are robots here. We all feel things differently and are working through them and all learning. No one has a playbook of life, so let's just talk about it.
Yes.
Well, that's the theme of the campaign, Maybelline Brave Together. So we are together here talking about it. But therapy can be group therapy, which is kind of what we're doing right now, and also individuals. And we can each speak for ourselves. I know for me, I think sometimes there can be some cultural barriers to going to therapy. There are some stigmas that if you go to therapy, you're crazy and there's something wrong with you. So it's almost like a little bit of anxiety, like, oh, I have a therapist. Like, girl, why? Like, what's going on with you?
Yeah.
When did you break out of that? Did you grow up being able to get into therapy? Was it hard for you to take that first step? Because I know for me, it was something I had to do. I was forced into. So it always felt very uncomfortable and from a judging place. Start with you, Marquita.
Honestly, for me, I did not fall into the stigma of therapy. It has always been a part of my life. Earlier on in my life, I experienced some very traumatic things. So I went through childhood therapy, high school happened, that was also traumatic for me. So I've always had some sort of connection to a therapist. And I have to say, it has been so important for me. Lately, I guess a little bit before the pandemic, I started exploring somatic therapy, and that's sort of how we hold trauma in the body. And I have to say, like, these sorts of techniques that I've been able to learn and these tools have been incredible. Like, I have been able to, physical, like,
physical move.
yes, so like, let's say I walk into her office and I'm upset and I'm anxious and I'm like, I don't even want to be here. I commit to this, so I'm going to show up, but like, I don't know what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
And I expressed that to, her name is Jennifer, and she's like, okay, you know what? She goes to her closet, she takes out a elastic spandex sack, and she gives it to me, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? Come on now.
Yeah.
And she suggests that I step into it and like have it as my little cocoon, my safe space. And I have to say, like, I left there feeling so incredible. I was able to speak to her and get so raw and go to places that I did not know I was able to. I felt safe,
So interesting.
which is something I never would have thought about.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
Kate, have you experiences with therapy?
Yeah, I would say growing up, I was really lucky. I have a very, very large, like my Big Fat Greek wedding, I always explain, I have like my Big Fat Jewish family, and there's like so many of us, and I'm very close with all of my cousins, and I'm one of the youngest, so I feel like I always had 20 older girlfriends that would pick up the phone anytime I wanted and always wanted to help me. So maybe that was a form of therapy with my mom and my friends and family kind of at that younger age. And then I also went through some traumatic moments and therapy was recommended. And I was, at the time, I felt like, does it mean I'm broken? Like, does it mean something's wrong with me? And then going, you're like, oh, I can tell her anything. She doesn't judge me. I don't have to bring it home later. Like, no one at home knows what I was even talking about. Like, it kind of felt like a safe place that I could talk about anything. And then later, if I change my mind, if I feel different, they're not gonna like be in my room checking. Like, it's kind of a separate space that I really liked, knowing I could go there, talk, and then come home and be myself again and kind of just let things go there. So I don't know, I've just found therapy to be super, super helpful. If it's regular, if it's just sometimes when I'm like, I'm in a moment, I need help now. I've also done virtual. I feel like I'm really someone who's open to trying anything to make me feel better. Like, I do any sort of like healers, or I'm like totally open to anything. So if it could maybe make me feel better, I'm like, why not try? Like, what's the problem?
Yeah.
Camille?
So I have never been to therapy in my life, so I'm going to share ways with you that I work through my anxieties, things that I worry about, fears, things that I still do in practice, because like I said, every day is a new day. Different obstacles coming our way that we have no idea that are coming. But so the way that I think my self-help therapy is taking a bath. Taking a bath and being unplugged is so rare. It's one thing to take a shower, and I tell you, all my thoughts run rampant in the shower because we're finally disconnected. You literally are alone, no phones, no nothing. You lose track of time. You're just in there, and I think, and I have conversations with myself. I talk to myself in the mirror. I actually remember a perfect example. I remember being in high school, and it was the first time that I started being like, I can help myself. I didn't like to talk to other people because, you know, whenever, let me know by like a little clap or a snap, have you ever done one of those breakups, had a relationship in your life where you break up and you know you shouldn't get back with them, but then you still want to and then you do? Anybody? Okay, so we've been there. All right, but you know maybe it's not the best for you. It's something called toxic. So I remember I was in high school and, you know, it kind of felt like the end of the world. And I remember just being in the shower and I would talk to myself and I'd be like, you know this isn't good for you. Why do you want to go back, Camille? And I would talk, I'd be like, well, super hot, great kisser, We have a lot of fun. Our friendship groups would have to break up, and it was like, okay, that sounds very surface level. Why do you want to leave? Well, I don't trust him. He did this. He did that. And the list kind of went on. And through that conversation, I was like, that's the end of that. And from there, little did I know that surrendering to what's meant to be, not pushing something, not forcing something, doing something that's best for me, even though it didn't feel that way and it had to step into an uncomfortable and fearful situation, it brought about new friends. It brought around about what it felt like to be single. I traveled alone for the first time when I was 16 years old. And I blossomed. Like stepping out of your comfort zone, whether it's a day, a week, a month, into a year, when you trust that path and you understand this is what's best for me, checking in with the mind, feeling how you vibrate. But yeah, I would say taking a bath, having conversations with myself, ask yourself those questions as if a therapist was asking. I like to journal. I like to journal out my fears, and then I read them back, and I'm like, girl, you're bigger than this. You have one life. Seize the opportunity. Enjoy the moments. There's only one you. I say this all the time. Even twins aren't alike. They don't think the same. They don't move the same. They don't look the same, even though they kind of do, but not all the time. There's always differences with all of us. And so journaling, taking a bath, talking to myself, looking at myself in the mirror. Sometimes I like to watch myself cry and be like, all right, have the moment, sweat it out, cry it out, ugly face cry, and then that's freeing. It like lets out that bad bacteria and those toxins. I feel better after that. Blast the music in the car. Rihanna, so you put on quite a show. You know, just sing those songs. And then, yeah, find someone you trust, talk about it. Therapy is something I need to try, but for real, this really is therapeutic for me, and I don't even know if a lot of you realize how much it does for me to have the one-on-ones with you and hug and dance and talk, and we love when you're honest with us because little do you know, there's so many moments here at launch that I remember that like get me up a lot of times, so thank you.
It's naps for me. Naps for you, naps for me.
Yeah.
Zanae, what has your experience been like with therapy?
Yeah, so I started therapy during the pandemic. I think the pandemic was hard for a lot of us. Lots of life lost. We were stuck in the house, and we were sort of forced to address some of those internalized thoughts that we've always had, but maybe just put in the back, and you know, it came to a head for me. And so it came to a point where that head popped, and I started doing virtual therapy. It's been really helpful. I did take a break, and I will say you don't have to continue therapy forever. Once you start, it's expensive. You know, it's hard to find the right therapist. Like all of these challenges go into even finding a therapist. It's like dating. I'm taking a break, but I definitely will come back to it. But for anyone who does feel like they need to talk to someone and you feel like you don't have someone, highly recommend, you know, looking online and finding someone. There's always resources available.
Yes, actually, I found my therapist online at Therapy for Black Girls. So I had a really hard time finding a therapist that I could relate to and talk to. I really felt like was hearing me and understanding the struggles that I'm dealing with. So Therapy for Black Girls is a great website, great resource, but there's lots of online resources. And virtual therapy is, you know, essentially the same. It's just, you know, we have amazing technology now. So let's get a little level deeper and really talk about, you know, anxiety and depression and suicide, all things that I've dealt with myself as well. And everyone doesn't have to answer this question if you don't want to. Tanae, I'll start with you. What has your experience been like dealing with depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, and how have you coped with that, or how are you coping with it?
Yeah, I'll be frank. In the last, I'm going to say 5-6 years or so, I've been much more open about my experience with depression and suicidal ideation. That was the culmination of my teenage years. Luckily, I'm not in that space anymore, but as I mentioned before, I did lose a friend to it. For me, I feel like I've managed the depression, you know, I feel like I'm in a good place, but anxiety is what gets me, especially as a model. Like, you're on the go, nothing is planned, and I'm a type A person, I need everything set in stone. So it's very much out of, you know, my character to sort of be in this industry. So I would say in order to combat anxiety, I love baths. I am a bath girl. I do it a little different than Camille, though. I do bubble bath, Epsom salt, I light a candle, I get my laptop, I put the Netflix on the toilet. the whole 9 yards. Like it's
A movie
spa.
bath.
It's an at-home spa, basically.
Yeah.
Also, I think you put me onto this sound baths.
Yes.
Literally every Sunday I clean my house top to bottom, you know, like a black mom. And I turn on Spotify and I just play the sound bath
What is
playlist
that?
that they have. It's these large bowls that they have, and I don't want to
It's like a gong.
describe
They
it.
emit like frequencies. It's literally a bowl.
Vibration, yeah.
And you.
Yeah, I feel like it's an energy cleansing.
It is.
And I also sage my house about once a month. I'm all about the spirit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Marquita,
Repeat the question. How do I deal with anxiety?
have you dealt with anxiety? or
Absolutely.
depression, suicidal thoughts? How are you dealing with them now, if you have them? Just talk about that.
Anxiety is huge for me. I have anxiety, I would say, the majority of my life. You know, stepping into new places, having to go to events alone, being up here. I'm still shaking, but I know I'm amongst good people and friends, and I feel safe. So like, you just kind of have to dismiss it and just tell yourself that you are so much stronger than that bullshit, because you are. Even if you don't feel it, tap into it, because we are women and we are fucking amazing. So just like remind yourself, like Camille was saying, look in the mirror, have your mantras, whatever you need to just sort of like pep yourself up, your music, your baths, all of it. But just step into the space of knowing that that is there. It's like the little devil on your shoulder that's trying to hold you back.
Yeah.
Get rid of that, you know, dismiss it. He's always gonna be there, I'm learning, but maturing, growing up, getting older, it gets so much easier. So just know that it's gonna be that little, I don't know, sometimes I like to think of it as like a little imaginary puppy dog that's just with me and attached all the time. And sometimes you just have to be like, you need to sit down and chill out and just go away. Like, you're always gonna be with me, but you can go too.
And sometimes anxiety can be a result of trauma.
Absolutely.
So, you know, I'm not obviously that kind of doctor, so I wouldn't be able to say that. But I know for me, when I feel anxiety, I'm like, why am I feeling this? Okay, that's why. And you're right, like it doesn't ever actually go away. It's managing it, and all the things that you ladies have mentioned can help you put in that space. So you're all incredible women, incredibly successful, talented, intelligent. I can go on a list of 15 adjectives before I get to you're obviously beautiful. But we do all work in an industry where there can be some toxic things that we have to deal with, and everyone deals with it now because of social media. So let's talk a little bit about how you deal with it and how you compartmentalize it and be able to stay in your safe and strong space while managing all of those kind of pressures that really everyone deals with now because of social media. So Camille, I'll start with you.
Before I answer that question, something popped into my head while I was listening to everybody talk, because it's something that I practice. You know, when people write affirmations or they advise to do affirmations, it's I am kind, I am love, I have everything I need, I am abundant. What if, because I do it with my life, but so I want to share this with you, what if we stop saying I have anxiety? We say I am dealing with anxiety, I am healing from anxiety, because your mind, your words, I actually learned that the word spelling is because in order to create a word, you have to spell it. When you say those words, you are casting a spell. So when you're speaking those words, you're casting a spell, which can be a beautiful thing, but not a beautiful thing when you're saying like, I have depression, I am depressed, I am healing from depression, I am on a journey to healing depression, I am dealing with. So I think if we practice that, we start writing that instead of associating with it. So no one really knows this unless you're very, very close to me. But I have been dealing with healing from a chronic illness that no one knows about, because I do not want to associate with it. I do not want to be asked about it. I do not want to feel that fear of what it feels like to be reminded what it is. I have been practicing this for so long that I actually got a checkup, like a health checkup, and they were like, why didn't you write on your health form that you have this chronic illness? I won't even mention it because I don't like talking about it. And I said, I forgot. I literally forgot. I was like, I wasn't hiding it from you, because it makes a big difference. When blood work was happening and different markers were showing up a little bit higher, I said, I forgot, because I have been practicing not associating with it, not acknowledging it. You know, there's a fine line between like ignoring it, but I constantly am saying I am dealing with it, I am healing from it. So I think we should practice affirmations with the bad stuff too and turn it into a positive so that our mind was like, yeah, we're not depressed. We're getting over that shit. We're not, we're dealing with things. We're working on healing. So that just came into my mind as I was saying that. But with social media, this is my way of dealing with it. So let's say I post a photo in a bikini, which is probably, I did that yesterday or something, and probably every day. It's what we're here, we're celebrating, because we love that this magazine is about celebrating all walks of life, all different backgrounds, body types, like this is what it's about. But everybody doesn't agree with that, okay? And we all see it on social media. We see it in our messages, in our emails. It is very rare, I'm not saying it never happens, but I have to say it's very rare that I've ever had someone come up to me and been like, gross, ew, that, like, why does that make you confident? What sport do you play that makes you want to be in the like, what allows you to be? It's very rare that these keyboard warriors, those people, if they were to meet any one of us out in the crowd, in real life, here, it is, I want to say, a 0.0001% chance that they're going to come up to you and say the things they're saying behind the screen, because they don't know you. They don't feel your aura. They don't know your energy. They don't know your light. Majority of the time, even if they were to say that to you, we would probably, I would be like, you need a hug. You need some loving, baby. You're beautiful. If they were like, you are this, you are that, you are just this because of who you date, you only have this because of that, I'd be like, I love you. And it would be hard. But ultimately, going eye for eye and battling and giving out that and matching energy, I don't agree with that. Not always. I would say, I hope you have a blessed day. I'm happy we could meet. I'm sad you feel that way, because I have nothing but love for you, and I hope that you continue to have a great day, 'cause it sounds like you need some love and some good light today. So just remember, when you see those messages, you read those things, it stings, it hurts. It doesn't matter how much mental clarity you have. It hurts, and I get sad, and I've cried, and I've been like, ooh, do I have big hips? Like, you know what, and I'm like, Camille, you practice too much, and you know that what I think matters, what the people who are close to me say matters, and majority of the time, just know, if you were face to face with them in a room, they would not say those things. It's not real. Do not allow that stuff to affect you. So that's what goes through my brain when I read those.
Camille, you're doing better than me. That's amazing.
It's hard, but it's possible.
Yeah, because I go low. I go underground. I go low, and then there's underground.
Ain't no Michelle Obama.
I
go lower.
Hold on, it's like I got a little bit of energy for you today, so I need to work on that.
Yeah.
Kate, how do you deal with it?
I think the biggest issue is comparing yourself to other people.
Yeah.
Because,
Huge.
like, everyone is different, everyone is beautiful, and everyone has something that you don't have. No matter who you are, no one looks in the mirror and goes, oh my God, I'm perfect. Like, this is so nice. I just woke up perfect. Like, everyone, whether it's mental, physical, you don't know. You might think that everything is good for them, but they're struggling with something. Like, you just can't compare yourself to other people, because you never know what's going on with them. And I think that's a vicious cycle. And I have like a group of girlfriends, and we all talk, and I'll get like commenting on the way someone else looks and that you don't, or that they have this, or that their life looks like this. I just feel like I've been on the inside of seeing one friend tell me like, oh, but she has it all. And I'm like, if you only knew, that one's actually revealed to me what she's dealing with right now, and you have no idea.
Right.
And I'm not going to share with you, but like, she's in a very bad place, and you're judging her and thinking, like, I'm like, this is just horrible.
It never ends.
Don't compare yourself to other people. You have no idea. And if you can just kind of, at the end of the day, when you die, you want people to remember that you were a good person, that you were fun, that you did that nice, generous thing for them, that, you know, you were thoughtful. Like, I feel like I feel my best when I know, like, I nailed, like, giving someone a surprise gift that, like, I just knew was going to mean so much to them, or I helped them through an emergency that I was able to, like, you know, hook them up with something, or I made them feel good. And at the end of the day, that's what, like, they're going to remember about you. Not your hair, not the way you looked on Tuesday. Like, they don't care. They don't remember it. At the end of the day, be a good person, focus on that, and that's what people really care about and why they want to be around you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Comparison will steal your joy.
Yeah, sure.
So real.
Marquita, how do you deal with social media and all these pressures that we're discussing?
Honestly, by disconnecting. For me, I would say that I kind of tend on the other side of not really being that active on social media. I enjoy it for the entertainment. I understand that you can learn so much, and even just the sense of community. But for me, I find that I'm happiest when I'm not on Instagram and when I'm not feeling like I need to be posting all the time. I don't know. I just maybe I'm old school, maybe different generation. I just kind of step back from it, and sometimes I get into it. I'm on a wave, and I love it, and it's fun. But I see how it can affect me otherwise, and I'm big on ego and just trying to like shed the ego. And I feel social media is the complete opposite of that. So, at times, but again, it can be absolutely incredible. So I don't want to just bash it, but that's where I am. And I definitely think I can do some more work on having a healthier balance as far as social media. But
Well, I think balance is important though, and however you personally deal with it is actually what's best, because as you just mentioned, don't compare yourself to other people. Some people are posting all the time and very involved, and that might not be for you, and what not only brings you peace and happiness, but isn't good for business either, because you're doing too much and it's not authentic to you, which is very important. Tanae, how do you deal with the pressures of not just social media, but also with the business and anxieties that come from that?
Oh yeah, I would say that as a person, I'm known to be very frank. My friends love it. I'll be like, no girl, don't do this, F him, blah, blah, blah. When it comes to business, I've learned to try and speak up more about not in that same tone, but stand up for what I do or don't want to do. Oh, I actually don't like that client. They've had this bad history with XYZ, or even in relationships. Oh, you're hurting my feelings. I'm not dealing with this stuff. I've sort of culminated everything into a simple phrase. If it doesn't bring me joy, it's bringing me pain. And apply that to anywhere in life, whether you're dating in the dating stage and the guy is like he's not courting you right. I'll be like, okay, this is stressing me out, therefore it brings me pain because it's not bringing me joy. I end it. I'm very much like that. So I feel like even when it comes to business, like sometimes you sort of have to put your foot down of, hey, this makeup isn't right. You're not doing my hair right. Sometimes you can present it in, of course, in a nice, respectful manner, but you really have to be your number one fan and your number one voice. And then as far as social media goes, like I said, I'm not afraid to respond to comments.
Go low sometimes,
okay? I'm not. I'm a Taurus to a T, if that makes sense. But I've also learned that not everyone deserves a response, And sort of going back to what Camille and Kate said, for me, I take social media really seriously. I did it from a corporate perspective for a decade, so I see both sides. I get stressed because I'm not posting enough. My pictures aren't good enough. I need to hire someone to take pictures of me in New York City, this, that. I need to keep posting so I can get that brand deal. She got a brand deal. I want a good one too, things like that. So what I've actually learned to do is I'll batch content in a weekend, and then I'll post it throughout the month. And people will think I'm in New York City or Florida or whatever, and no, I'm actually at home. But you will never know. I'm chilling. I'm just gonna, post casually, and that saves me so much time and relieves a lot of the pressure that we have to just be on all the time. I can't do it.
Yeah, I do that as well, just kind of gathering content. I love that. If it doesn't bring you joy, it's not bringing me joy, it's bringing me pain. I saw this meme, I was like, girl, but does he calm your nervous system? I'm like, yes, that part.
Yeah.
Because you were making me anxious on top of my anxiety, so you gotta go.
Exactly.
We're very busy women. So obviously we're here with Maybelline Brave Together campaign and with Sports Illustrated, and the purpose of this panel was to talk about mental health and something that affects all of us here today, men and women. Everyone in the audience and up here has dealt with different elements of this as we discuss. And sometimes it can feel like we're really separated from each other, like we don't have anything in common. Like how many people in the crowd have dealt with anxiety at any point?
Yeah.
How many people have dealt with depression or dealt with someone in their family having suicidal thoughts, or had a friend deal with suicidal thoughts? So there's so many people with their hand raised. I want to do something really quick before we get off stage. Everyone close their eyes. Everybody. I'll be the only one with my eyes open. Everyone close their eyes. All right, raise your hands if you yourself have felt completely alone. Like you have no help in the world, like there's no one there reaching out for you, like what you're dealing with is impossible, and you're never going to get over it. It's the end of the world. You're hideous. No one loves you. It's all over. Now open your eyes. Everyone's hand is raised. That's the purpose of this today. We all deal with this. It's nothing that should be stigmatized. It's nothing that we should hide or feel afraid, as Camille said, to talk about with each other, hug each other if it's permitted. Share what we're going through, because we are a community and we grow together and we improve together, not just as women, but obviously everyone here today. It's all about positivity. So I want to thank everyone for being here today. Thank you to our amazing panel.
Thank Thank you.
Thank you.
You're amazing women. Thank you for everything that you said, and thank you for sharing. Thank you to Maybelline, Break Together, and Sports Illustrated. Thank you all for being here today. We have more panels coming up. So enjoy this beautiful day here in South Florida, and we'll be back up here in a few moments.
Oh my God, it's hot.
I don't want to leave. Like I'm very.
I'm like
I'm
it.
fine here.
One more time.
Hi, I'm Kate Bock. I'm here with Sports Illustrated. We are at the Hollywood Hard Rock. We are outside doing our launch events. It's so much fun. And today we are doing a panel in our content tent. I have our three, I think, most recent brides, and I am the bride-to-be who needs to ask them lots of advice, learn from them, because it can be a very stressful, chaotic process. I know that Josephine and I both had COVID, proposals, engagements, maybe weddings, so we've dealt with a lot of deviations from our plans. So I'm just here to learn from my brides. So, when you guys, what was the first thing you did actually? You got engaged, and then the next day you get 100 texts like, so when's the wedding? And you're like, oh my dear Lord. What was your first step?
I feel like I took like I went on like a 3-month hiatus where I was like, don't ask me where it is, when we're getting married. I want to enjoy the engagement. I'm not the girl that like had the venue and the dress picked out and was waiting for the ring. I was the opposite. I was like, but I took my time. I was like definitely snapping at people who were like, what's the date and where's the venue? It's like, that's not for you to know right now. Let me enjoy it. That's how I was. I don't know. Were you?
It's funny because I like immediately got sent a wedding planner. Like, this is a lot of work. I was like, I don't know. I kind of just want to vibe with being engaged. So I also took a beat and then kind of got right back into things. I think it was fun. I really had no idea what. Like, I didn't have a Pinterest board of like, oh, this is what I would want my wedding to be. So it was kind of like starting from scratch of, okay, what kind of vibe is it going to be, right? Yeah. Like, it could be anything at that point, which is so nice. Yeah. We all had very different weddings. Like, I feel like we all had very different weddings. Like, mine was in a garden. Yours was in Louisiana. Yours was a beach wedding, right?
No, mine was kind of like in the jungle, but in Mexico. It was like weird. They built this like acres, like, yeah. No, but same for me. It's like I got engaged in November, and I knew I kind of like, for like the ease of family traveling, for me it was like, okay, I know it's going to be like probably spring or summer because of the times people can take off. So I wasn't going to plan in like 6 months. So for us, it was like same thing. Like I took that year, sadly took that year because then COVID hit and it was like a whole situation. But for me, I needed to be engaged. I wanted to do all the steps. Like hopefully this is only a one-time thing. So I wanted to enjoy being engaged and having that moment, and just we actually waited like 48 hours to tell anyone because I was like, I wanted it to like just have the two of us for like 2 seconds because I knew the second you sent it out, it was like one of the first people I told was my aunt, and I was like, don't tell anyone, and she started putting rings on my Instagram, and I was like, oh my gosh, fans gets it so fast.
Yeah, right.
So like, what is happening?
Kate, do you have so you are getting married? Is there, you don't have to tell us what the vibe is, but do you have a vibe that you have already like thought about and planned about, like on your Pinterest or whatever it may be?
Yes, before I was engaged, did similar. It wasn't something that I always dreamed of, and I also like, it depends on what phase of life. It depends where I live at the time. It depends like on a million things, what time of year. Like I wasn't clear on a direction because I think you have to kind of like figure out what the vibe is first. And we actually had one destination, and then swimsuit. It's very hot and humid in here. And we had to deviate and change, so I had to like change my whole board. I do have like bulletin boards all in our office at home, and I print out images also because Kevin is a visual learner. Yeah. So when I need to, I find when I need to like express what I mean, I make a board, and that's also the best way he learns. Right. You know, so I think that just worked for both of us. But I just love pulling images. I'm like, my Instagram is just like saved albums of different categories all the time. So I had images, but it was maybe from like a hair and makeup look I liked, or like a place I wanted to travel to that I was like, ooh, this is cool. So it wasn't clearly wedding until later, and then it all came together.
Is your husband, or sorry, is your fiance going to be involved, and was all your guys' involved?
Yes, mine. A lot of it was during the season, and then his brain space is like only for basketball. So I was like, okay, I got like 10,000 questions today. If I ask you 2, could we do that? And he'd be like, that's a lot, but okay. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, I don't even know what a French linen is. Like, help me. But now he's very involved because we're done and we're in the clear. Yeah. How about you?
I feel like
My man wasn't involved at all. He trusted me. I had like an amazing team of wedding planners. His mom is like literally coastal grandmother, but she doesn't look like a grandmother. She's very young. But she's very, like, all of her houses are very aesthetically pleasing, and she throws amazing parties. And so she also, I would bounce ideas off of her. She was like the stand-in Billy. I was like, do you think he would like this? And she would kind of tweak things, and she was always texting the wedding planner. But he didn't care. He trusted me. He was like, whatever you think. Little things that I would like decide to ask him about that I had already decided on and bought. He was like, no, I don't like it. I was like, oh, okay, it won't be there. And then it was there. I feel like my aesthetic is like all white. Like we had tons of chandeliers and like everything was really modern. The stage was built out like lucite. It was very modern. And he's kind of like more, I don't know, traditional Greenwich, Connecticut, Hamptons vibe. And I'm like, no, we're going modern with this one. So yeah, I just did what I wanted. I didn't really listen to what he had to say, but he loved it. The day of, he was like, wow, your vision came together. Totally should have just trusted you, as he always should, right?
Always. What was your?
My man was super involved, actually more than I was involved. He fully.
And he was like, "Excuse me, pass the mic. Like I am handling the situation."
No, full on. I mean, my schedule's been crazy. I've started between modeling and starting up a company right now. It's just, I again wasn't like the bride in the sense of like I just was like, hey, I like nun colors. Yeah. Like, and I like white flowers, and that's basically, and I like candles. And not too poofy, and he was like, go with it. And we had an amazing wedding planner. But yeah, he fully ran the show, and he would come and give me reports to be like this. I was like, yeah, cool. And then he would book back with it. So I was extremely lucky, like completely roles reversed. So I felt very blessed that I had a guy that just really took care of it, and we have very similar vision.
What a good hubby.
I know, I got lucky.
It was like 70-30. I feel like I did most of it, but he definitely wanted to have a say on things for sure. And yeah, I mean, it was definitely very collaborative. Ours was very loose. Like it was in a garden kind of esque setting. There was like white peacocks everywhere. Really the setting led itself to being fabulous on its own. So I feel like we just kind of came in and like put the cherry on top, which was awesome.
Which was you guys.
Yeah.
What do you think was the most stressful part of the wedding planning, or was there a point? I feel like my wedding planner came up with, she's like, at a certain point, you're going to get question fatigue. It's too many questions. You're going to get over it. So tell me when it hits and I will take over. Like, I'll get your vibe by then that I can do it. Yeah. So was there a certain point where you're like, I'm tapping out? Like, no.
I mean, ours was a destination wedding. So between like my family flying from Europe, his from America, we were in Mexico. It's like people, instead of don't read the invite, they don't read the website. And you get 200 texts daily. Be like, oh, where am I staying? Where am I? I'm like, can you put it all on the website for ease? But again, it's like, especially when you have a destination wedding, there's so many people not like comfortable traveling. So trying to like navigate that, but my bridesmaids were really good at like trying to like navigate family and I think just delegating like a contact person. Be like, hey, text so and so. Like if you have a maid of honor, like for me, one spoke Danish, and I was like, you got the Danes, you got my family. This one gets over here. And then it was like, because at the end of the day, you're like, I cannot text back to all these people the same question over and over.
Also, if you text a bride on her wedding day or weekend, I'm never talking to you again. I had so many people, they weren't even my friends, because your close friends, family, they know it's someone that's like your man's friend's wife or whatever. Hey, where do I get brunch in New Orleans? I'm like, the website has all the recommendations. It has everything. Text your point person. It's on your welcome basket. I feel like also the one thing that you don't get back is like on your wedding day, like you said, mine was like 500 something people. People ask you so many questions.
500 people at your wedding?
Oh yeah.
Southern girl.
Yeah, I know.
Bringing
Tinted.
it.
It was a huge party. Wow. Yeah, my mom had 900 at her wedding.
Stop.
She had 900?
Yeah.
How did they not go broke after? How is that possible?
I don't know.
Jesus.
People spend a lot of money in Louisiana weddings.
Yes.
But I feel like the part that was like the worst for me was right when you get off the altar and you're like with your hubby, everyone's like, wait, what was this dress? Oh wait, let's take a photo, you know, an iPhone photo, this, that. And you're like, oh my gosh, I just spent 10 minutes talking to my best friend's grandfather. Like, I got to go to the dance floor, you know? Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I feel like just soak it in. Like, one thing our wedding planner did was after we like exited the church, she had like a little plate of food. Obviously, you're running on adrenaline, so you don't even want to eat. But like a little cocktail plate of food for like the groom and bride to sit and like have 10 minutes before they like get announced, which I feel like is a key. You have to do that.
Yeah.
A toast and like a chat, and then go about your business. You know?
Yeah.
I think the most stressful was, so I actually I was going to do one hairstyle. I had 2 dresses. I was going to do just one hairstyle and then just go. But it was so hot. We got married in June, and I was like in California, Southern California, and I was like, no, I need to like put my hair up. My hairdresser had gone because I was like, it's fine. Like, this is sprayed to the heavens. I don't need you anymore. And so my sister came in clutch. It was like a quarterback move. She came in. We literally had one black hairband, hairband. Yeah, we had 2 bobby pins.
Oh my God, it's like a DIY emergency.
She like finagled it up. Literally, people were like, "Who did
Your favorite
hair?"
updo you've ever had?
Yes. It was like perfectly like just like a little bit loose and came down, but that was so stressful. We had 5 minutes and I was like, oh my God, this is a freaking nightmare. I should have just kept it. Long story short, I would have kept her with me, but thank God that my sister came in clutch because it looked just perfectly done but undone.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah.
Okay, I have another question because I feel like I'm trying to, get it all beforehand. Okay, firstly, did you change, and do you feel like you took too long changing and missed out on your own party? Because everyone tells me it's such a limited time, it's your one day, like you want to be present. And also, depending on your number of guests, like if you really calculate hours and number of guests, you only have like 2 minutes. I mean, if you had 500 people, probably 30 seconds, I don't know, per person to talk to. So like, how did you feel? Did you get stressed that you weren't giving attention to all of your guests and they had flown in for you, and then you feel like, how did you kind of navigate that?
I mean, I was lucky because of the destination. We had like a welcome dinner like 2 nights before. Yeah. And a lot of people came in like the day before that. So there was enough time to me to like get to like say hi to people. And the welcome party for us very much was that. Like, so we didn't have to redo that on our wedding, and I loved that part.
So you had a little moment with everyone.
Yes.
I feel like yours was a week-long wedding.
It was definitely, it was a vibe. But also we didn't do first look, and that was a little stressful because I didn't want to see him till like I walked down. But then you have this like awkward moment where you're like trying to rush and get the pictures.
Right, between the ceremony
Yeah,
and seeing it.
but it all worked out, and like honestly, it was so nice having said hi to everybody prior. Yeah. I really like that, but it also is a lot to ask of
Did you
people.
cry when you saw him at the?
No, I'm not a crier. Yes.
Got him.
Did you cry? I was sobbing. My husband was not. He's not a crier either. I literally was like, I'm not gonna cry. Have a tan. I'm not gonna cry. The moment I turned the corner, I start crying, and my tears streaked my tan. I was like, ugh.
Top it.
I'm such a baby. Yeah.
Billy cried his eyes out when he saw me on the first look. I was like, yeah, you're lucky. No, I'm just kidding. No, I didn't cry. I just was like so worried about my makeup.
No, I think there's like the model in here that is just like, no. I also don't find it. But yeah, I switched. I actually, my changing place was not too far, and I went with some girls, and they wanted to get out of their bridesmaid dresses because it was, again, hot, and they were like a silk. So they all changed too, and I got to take like 5 minutes to just enjoy and breathe and be like, okay, are we still in, like, and then we went out and like started the dance floor, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But I did it like right after dinner.
Yeah, right out. Okay, good.
I changed after dinner, before like big dancing. And I do think that I took a little bit too long. I had my hairstylist and makeup artist from New York come in, and like typical New York, like they were taking their time making it perfect. And my wedding planner like was almost crying. She was like, "You're missing so much. Like, hurry."
Like,
so then I started to stress, and I was like, "Just finish it up. We're not doing an hour glam look." It was like 30 minutes, which I wish I could have taken a little less time. But I would just quick change. If you're changing your hair, like make it super fast.
Yeah.
And then on with the show, because you don't want to miss it. Biggest day ever.
Yeah.
I did a change, and I was so bummed. I had a live music. I had like this saxophone player who was amazing. He did like covers of Drake, but he also did like Sade and Elton John and everything, and he was so cool. And I missed that during my change.
Oh no.
So I was kind of bummed about that, but my second dress ended up being my favorite. So it's just really about
a little mix.
That priority, yeah.
Okay, I think we got to wrap it up, but I want to rapid fire you. How many times did you try on a dress until you said yes to the dress?
One, because it was custom made.
One. But no reference dresses? No trials? No.
When you're plus size, you don't get reference dresses. You literally just have to be like,
this is my
make
vibe.
this? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, it
fair.
worked out. I tried on only like 5 or 6.
Damn.
Yeah.
Decisive.
Same thing. I had a custom. I had 2 fittings because of COVID, and I just had to trust that the drawing was what it was going to show up. Like, are you guys gonna? Did you guys get married on your actual wedding, or did you have to go to like courthouse?
Courthouse before. Yeah.
I ended up going to the Raiders Stadium, and we got married at the 50-yard line.
So cool.
We were luckily, like, our wedding planner was like certified, so she could like go down and like we got married by Charles Woodson, and I was like, and he signed on a paper on the 50-yard line. I was like, it was the sickest thing. So I got to
I feel
do,
like this is literally Josephine's like dream
twice.
came
Oh,
true.
I
was like, she's on a cloud. Like, she's not functioning. Well, this has been so much fun, very educational. I feel like I've learned a lot. I appreciate your advice, and I also will ask you way more questions this weekend, probably, whenever I get you free.
I just think, honestly, the best advice, it's going to go so fast, and I know you've probably heard this a million times. Enjoy it. Don't lose each other. Stay together. It's the two of you.
Yeah.
And be selfish. Honestly, be selfish on your day. This is your day.
Yeah.
You don't have to say hi to certain family members. Just be you and him, and just take it in and walk away once in a while and just like look at it and be like, oh my God.
Like, this is it. We're doing it. This is the one day. Yeah. Yeah. Well, can't wait.
And
be
find
so much
some
fun.
sort of distraction the next day because it was depressing.
Yeah, so do you go into a depression?
People like forget after your wedding day. It's big, huge, amazing. Everyone's obsessed, and then like the next day, they don't forget about it. But like the details that you're like, oh my God, that no one remembers.
Yeah,
They
like
just
that
remember
one
if it was
candle
fun
that
or
was in the
not.
wrong
That's
spot.
it.
Yeah.
That's it. So.
Yeah. Okay. Fun. Fun. Decisive. Man time. Privacy. Yeah. We're going to do it all.
Man time.
Yeah. Thank you.
Taylor, our lovely moderator, will kick it off.
Thank you, Lynn. I'm Joy Taylor, host of The Herd on FS1 and host of the Joy Taylor Show on Fox Sports Radio. Happy to be here with everyone today. This is Building Your Brand, presented by Celsius. So Celsius and Sports Illustrated Swimsuit are partnering together to utilize their platforms for all women to succeed, working hand in hand to provide our female following community support, education, events, and other resources to advance their careers, and are collaborating with Celsius to host swim lessons workshop at Launch Week to cover the latest trends on digital marketing, content creation, social media, and more. So first I want to introduce everyone, and then we'll get to building your brand. So let's start with Olivia Ponton. Katie Turoff is the Director of Social Media and Influencer Marketing. Cindy Kimberly. Brooke Snyder. And Kimmy Crawford. So let's talk business. We're building our brands. This is something that we all kind of collaborate on as women, and I know I have an amazing support system and bounce things off them all the time, so I'm very eager to learn from all of you. So I'll ask all of you one question first, and then we'll kind of bounce around. So let's start with you, Olivia. How would you describe your brands, your brand messaging, and how has it evolved over the years?
Wow, good question. Is this on?
Yeah, take her mic. Oh,
Yeah, I can hear
mine's
you.
working.
Here's the thing. Hi guys, my name is Olivia. Wait, can you repeat the question one more time?
Yes. How would you describe your brand?
Okay, my brand, I would say honestly, is about like women empowerment, and I feel like, you know, growing up. Oh yeah, sorry. Thank you. I'd say growing up in Florida, just kind of being like happy all the time. I feel like there's so much negativity, especially in social media, like comparing yourself to other girls. And I feel like just posting like the happiest stuff that I can make, and you know, like making other girls happy, and you know, getting that message across to everyone.
Natalie?
I would say, I mean, similarly, I try to make content that's like positive or just like wear fun colors. You know, that's kind of my content that I try to recreate because it's what I like. So yeah.
Let's bounce over to Cindy. Can we hear you?
Hi. Oh. I'm gonna pass. Are you sure?
Okay.
I guess I would describe my brand as just kind of what Natalie, dream girl I had when I was 13.
It's a good one. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
I feel like, just being a role model for the next generation, I feel like something that drew me to Sports Illustrated was the selection of women that they put in their magazine. They're not just a pretty face. They're hardworking, entrepreneurial. They have so much to offer as people. I'm the oldest of 4 girls. My sisters are here. So I feel like just being a role model as the older sister, I was always worried about setting a good example, being kind to everyone, just treating other people the way that you want to be treated. That's something that I live by. And I feel like it'll take you so far. And obviously through social media, I hope that that's my brand. I talk to a lot of these girls all the time, the Swim Search girls. That's the older sister in me, giving advice and, just setting a good example for the next generation.
And you definitely did that for me too, so thank you.
Yay.
Hi guys, I'm Katie, and first up, thank you guys so much for coming today. I know a few of you traveled very, very far, so we really, really appreciate it. I would really describe my brand as fun, energetic, positive, like all the rest of these girls, but really I focus on fitness, health, and workouts, and recipes as of late, and so I really want to empower every girl to feel their best self through health and wellness, and I truly believe that you can feel your best self through workouts and eating healthy, staying in a good routine, and so that's really my entire brand and my entire message, and that's why I want to be part of Sports Illustrated Swimsuit so much, is because, as Brooke said, it's like being a role model in terms of like what you should put in your body, how you should treat your body, and also, they are really, really aligning with so many entrepreneurs. I have my own fitness app, I have, my own talk show too, so I really love how they're branching out, outside of the traditional model as well.
That was a good answer.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello, I'm like talking into my armpit. I honestly, can you hear me? You can. Okay. I feel really honored and blessed because I feel like I've been able to build my brand 1,000% of just being myself, and at this point I wouldn't want to be anything else. I spent a lot of time when I was younger trying to fit into something that I thought other people would like, and one day I just decided I'm just going to be the person that I like, and however that's received is however that's received, and I still move in that energy, and it's working, it's doing something. So
I want to ask Al and Katie before we move on, how would you describe Celsius' brand, and what do you aim to portray publicly surrounding your brands?
So, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Celsius is it's an energy drink, and at the core, we really want to be more than an energy drink. So we talk about living fit and a living fit lifestyle, and that's really more than just fitness, where we are kind of born, and we're more of a fitness positioned energy drink. But really, what that's kind of evolved into is our brand being something that inspires people to really authentically live their most fit life, and whatever that means to them. So it's not the same to everybody. It doesn't mean you have to be in the gym every day. It's really just doing everything you can across everything you do in your life, and doing it the best that you can. And we want to empower women and just everybody in general to really be able to do that.
And Camille made a very good point, which I think I'm going to ask now, is how do you balance putting out your brand and staying authentic? Because it's obviously, it's a tightrope you walk. You want to show too much? Do you want to show a lot? Do you really want to be transparent? So Camille, I'll start with you since you mentioned it. Was that a decision you made to be authentic? Because I'm authentic, but you get this much.
Yeah.
I have a line. So where did you put that line, and how did you decide to go with that for your brand?
I mean, I decided to go with it as a life thing at 13 because I was bullied a lot when I was in elementary and middle school. So it was a decision that I made at 13, but then as I started getting into like the influencer space, the model space, the TV space, I just noticed that like every time, I think as a content creator, and I think everyone can relate to this, if you're going through something personal that you can't express with the people who follow you, it stifles your creativity. It makes it so that you don't actually want to put out anything because you don't feel authentic or genuine. And that to me is like the worst place to be in. I hate feeling like I'm in that place. I went through a really horrible breakup in November. She's good now though, don't worry about her. Worry about him. Because the magazine's out, honey. But during that time, I felt like, I have a podcast, relation, beep. If you listen to it, it's the S word at the end. So, I don't know if we're doing PG or G rated or what, but it's a relationship advice podcast, and I was recording episodes for my podcast, and I wasn't talking about my breakup, and I was like, what am I doing? Like, no, like I need to talk about this. I need to like be real, because a lot of other people are probably going through this exact same thing, and if I don't talk about it, I'm not going to be able to relate to anyone about anything that I'm talking about. So I honestly think there is still a fine line. I am a Scorpio, so you know I'm very mysterious, but also not at all, because I talk about everything. But there is a fine line. I think there are some things that are personal to me that I don't feel the need to discuss with anyone, and then there are things that I do choose to share. I think as a creator too, though, it is a fine line, because your followers expect for you to share everything. And I think you need to share as much as you are comfortable with when you are comfortable doing it. There are still boundaries in everything. So I don't know if that's an answer, but
You do have to have boundaries, as we talked about mental health earlier. So being authentic but protecting yourself is also very important. Katie, fitness is obviously a huge part of what you do. So how has social media inspired you in the fitness space? Has there been certain trends that have made you like, light bulb, I love that, how can I build on that? Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like for me, I actually saw the entire evolution of fitness, the entire industry since I was like born, basically. My first workout video was when I was 7 years old. So I really actually saw social media and the fitness world evolve and like really, you know, become what it has become. I think it's like you said, a fine line, because for me, fitness content can seem demotivating in a sense, right? You don't want to keep posting and keep seeing on your feed, oh shoot, this girl's working out, I didn't work out today, and actually in turn make your followers feel bad about themselves. So there's a fine line between making sure your followers feel like you're motivating them and they're your friend, not like you're too intimidating, right? And so that's what I try to really base, you know, my brand off of. I honestly probably show too much, and it's probably like, you know, you're always gonna get the haters too that come after you, but I think, you know, making sure you're staying true to yourself, it's so cliche and everyone always says it, but it's true. Staying true to you and making sure people know if you don't work out that day, I tell people I don't work out. I am exactly who I am. I'm so honest with the exact workouts I do, which I think helps me feel honest with myself too, because I'm not, you know, ever spreading anything untrue about fitness and, you know, being inauthentic.
Brooks, you talked about, you know, being a big sister and wanting to, you know, put out positivity. How have you found that your brand has been able to enable you to reach out to other people and support other people and, you know, spread that message that you're trying to portray with your brand and social media?
I mean, I feel like working with a brand like Sports Illustrated gives you a platform. I mean, all of us, it gives you followers, it gives you an audience, it gives you ladies like these ladies who, you know, come out to all the events and are willing to listen to you. I feel like it's way easier said than done to just be like, oh, I'm going to be authentic and post everything on Instagram. I'm still working on that. I feel like everyone's still working on that, because some things, like you said, you do want to keep in your personal life, whether it be like a relationship or your family. Some people like to keep those things separate. But I feel like when I follow people and they're truly authentic and they'll just whip out their phone like a Camille and be like, oh my God, this guy just cut me off in traffic and I'm freaking out. Like, she really is that honest on her Instagram. I feel like it shines through and you can actually tell who's authentic and who's not. I mean, like Doja Cat on TikTok, who follows her, just posting the most crazy stuff, but you know that's her real personality. That's like one of my favorite people to follow. So I feel like people can see right through it. Like your audience, if you're posting something that doesn't align with your brand, it's going to be obvious. And you know, I'm a partner of Celsius as well, so I feel like also if you're a genuine fan of a brand and you want to work with them, then you should. If you're not, you should say no, and you should not be afraid to say no, because you know, just a short little job or check isn't worth it if it's going to lose your audience and being dishonest with them, which is why I'm a partner of Celsius. Second one today, but you know what I mean. So yeah, I mean, you know, I feel like you can tell when people are actually genuine on social media and in person. I'm the opposite. I'm completely unfiltered and honest in person, and I'm trying to get more like of that onto my Instagram, because people are like, you gotta post this stuff you say, but sometimes it's a little too unfiltered. But
I think yes.
but yeah, I feel like that's basically. Did that answer the question too? I feel like we're getting also sidetracked.
Obviously, there can be some pressures in social media. TikTok, I still haven't figured out what my TikTok lane is yet. I'm still working on it. But you know, we feel pressures when you're building your brand to be involved in every different platform that there's on. How do you find your lane, and do you feel pressure to have content on every platform or dominate every platform? How do you balance that?
I think I just keep it really honest
like I want to post. I think I have like times where I'm like really feeling myself, really active, I'm on vacation, I want to post all the time, or like on Twitter I share more of like what's actually happening internally, how I'm feeling. I think I post on each platform depending on what I feel like is best fitted. I use Twitter a lot to talk about my mental health, which is like where I connect with people the most, and I feel like I have the truest connections over there. And then I think TikTok is more of a fun platform. It's a younger audience, in my opinion. Yeah.
Natalie, how do you decide how to adjust to the ever-changing platforms and what people are wanting on those platforms? As you just mentioned, TikTok is a little bit younger, but then you have like the do-it-yourself crowd on TikTok, and that can be way older. And then Instagram, and now like my mom's on Instagram, but posts twice. Is that changing? How do you stay on top of all that?
Well, I think social media is always changing, right? There's like a new trend every single day. It's like it sometimes feels overwhelming and hard to keep up. But like I said before, the content that I watch or consume is what I like, and that's what I want to put out. So if I think something is hilarious, and I'll try to recreate that in my own way and put my own little twist on it. Or if it's like something fashion or a makeup transition or something like that, like I love watching that stuff. I can watch it all day long, so I love to put that kind of stuff out.
I know for me, I try to see what people in my particular industry are doing and what people that follow me are responding to. So when you look at your brand as a business, you can kind of focus on that. Is that something that you pay attention to, Olivia, or do you just go straight from the heart and gut?
I think for me personally, I feel like I follow a lot of, I follow all of you guys, obviously, and you guys are like what I look up to, so it's kind of crazy that I'm like sitting here, I'm like, oh, hey. Like, thank you, but I don't know, it's like a little crazy for me. But I would say, honestly, I create, very generic, the basic day-to-day content, but then I'll like wake up one morning and I'll be like, I get random ideas and I'm like, I'm gonna do this today. And I make like I want to be a creative director when I'm older, so I think just kind of like starting that now and like finding my little niches is like what I enjoy.
That's wonderful. Well, these are all amazing tips. Thank you guys for sharing. You mentioned Celsius, obviously. We are here with Celsius for building your brand. And Brooke, you mentioned that you make decisions based off of, what works for your brand. You don't just take a check, which, look, sometimes
you gotta pay rent. I get it. Yeah.
We gotta do that sometimes. But
Yeah.
it is important what you're representing and who you choose to work with and what that portrays to the people that follow you. And it does feel like a little bit of a responsibility. So obviously you work with Celsius, but I'll ask each of you, how do you decide which brands to work with, to partner with, and what that represents for your brands?
I know everyone keeps asking this, but can you? Okay, you can.
Yeah,
do
you
it.
can hear me.
The question of the hour.
You guys can hear everyone, right? Yes.
Okay. I feel like a lot of my partnerships stem from me actually using or drinking the product, and then being like, wow, well, how cool would it be if I'm actually a fan of this and I can promote this on my social media platforms or to my audience? I've never really worked with a brand that's just randomly reached out and been like, have you tried this? I've said no to things for sure that aren't for me, and if I don't genuinely like it, then it just becomes, there's a such thing as like people coming up to you on the street or like a paparazzi shot. If I was drinking something completely different and actually wasn't a fan, I know a lot of models that like have contracts with Armani and they're allergic to the makeup, and they're the face of it and they don't use it at all. So I feel like you really do have to be a fan of the product to promote it, because like we talked about, authenticity is so important, and it does shine through when you're talking about a product or you're promoting it. I feel like me on the outside looking in, I can tell when people, whether it be that I know them or I know someone that knows them and they don't even drink that or whatever, I feel like you get busted with that stuff pretty easily. And so that's how a lot of my partnerships stem, is also like loving the people that you work with is so important. If I was a fan of Celsius and these girls weren't here and their whole team, they're amazing. They're like so perfect for SI Swimsuit. Everyone at SI Swimsuit's here for a reason. Everyone keeps asking me like, what do you think of all the models? I'm like, they are hand selected, not because of their gorgeous faces, but because of they're beautiful on the inside, all of these women. And this is like the only job we all have where there's never any cat fighting or anything. And working with a brand's the same thing. It's like, you gotta be friends with the people for it to really mesh, which is the case with Celsius and most partners that I have, that's the case.
Okay, you do fitness, so in some ways you might have a real responsibility to represent
Well, speaking of how I do fitness, right? I think building a personal brand for me is really key to have a focus and really more of a movement. You know, people can follow you because they think you're pretty or, you know, they like your style, but at the same time, you have to create a movement and you have to shine through your passions and align with brands that also highlight those passions. So for me, I partner with mostly like fitness brands, health and wellness brands a lot of the time, skincare, self-love, because that's really what I try to, you know, create with my entire brand. And, you know, kind of what Brooke said too, longevity of a career is key. You don't want those quick things because whenever you're saying no to something, you are saying yes to something else. So making sure that you are staying true to yourself when you're working with a brand is so important. Your followers will see right through it. I've been there, I've done that, I've taken a check and I've gotten those DMs being like, you said you don't do this. I'm like, dang it, okay. So I've been there.
girl.
So they'll see it, and to be honest, like longevity of your career is so important because you want that long span of a career. You know what I mean? You don't want those quick fixes, and so to make sure, you know, if you're creating an entire personal brand, you are sticking to what type of movement, what's the message that you want to send to everyone, and what's the message that you're going to get across with a brand like Celsius. So it's really important to not only think about the check, but the movement around it.
Cindy, how do you decide which brands you partner with?
Kind of same as Brooke said. I think you have to actually like the brand and be excited to work with them. I also kind of like taking myself out of my comfort zone sometimes because, just like Olivia said, I want to be a creative director in the future, so I kind of like taking brands that I'm not necessarily too familiar with, or I kind of have to like adjust myself to it and kind of create my own version of what that mesh is like. So I usually do only work with brands that like I truly love and I feel like are representative of what I stand for, but I also like taking myself out of my comfort zone sometimes and trying things out that like I wasn't necessarily familiar with before, but then I end up becoming a fan of.
So Camille, we talked about authenticity, and I'm gonna ask you the same question with another layer. We all know what our major audiences are. So do you ever feel compelled to work with the brands because it's something that you actually just like, and it might not necessarily be what your audience will respond to, but just to expand, you know, your horizons and actually bring in a new audience?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like my followers, if I'm passionate about something, they will see that and they'll understand that. And if I have to do extra explaining, then I'll do that. But as a black woman with curves, the most important thing for me when I work with any brand is inclusivity and representation. If I don't see someone on your Instagram feed or on your website that is darker than me, I'm not working with you. I don't care. Like, I have sisters and friends that look totally different from each other, and I want to make sure that everyone feels represented. But even as a non-black or a non-POC creator, influencer, I think it's important to make sure that you're creating seats at the table for everybody and speaking up when you're on an influencer trip and everybody looks the same and it's, you know, 50 Shades of Beige, we've seen it 5 million times. And we need to be able to see other people who represent what we see right now in this room. Like, it needs to look like this everywhere. And thank you. It's like if we don't see it, then nothing changes. So yeah, I've said no to brands multiple times, and I've been like, I'm willing to work with you and send you other influencers that I think that would be great for you. But if I don't see any change, then the check is not worth it to me for my soul or for my sisters who, like Brooks, I'm the oldest of 6 girls, and I need for them to be able to see themselves everywhere. That's my goal, and my future children. I need them to be able to see themselves represented, and that's most important to me, way more than a check.
No, absolutely. If I go on a clothing website and there's not multiple, well, first of all, what am I buying this for? It's not gonna fit me anyway.
Right, exactly.
Too much. Just have multiple body types on here,
Yes.
so I know what it might look like,
It's
and then I'm
simple.
sure it's a lot.
Go process.
Run it through everything.
Right.
Olivia, how do you choose who you work with?
Okay, so I would say like exactly what you said, but for me it's kind of like the message behind the brand, and I feel like, you know, I'm a part of the LGBTQ community, and I love to see and work with brands that also support, you know, the same things that I'm supporting, and, you know, making sure like you're speaking up at these influencer trips. How many have I been on where we all look the same? I'm like, hello,
Yeah.
can someone please do something about this? So I don't know, it's like kind of, you know, just getting that message out, and, you know, I feel like also it's like literally every other girl said, it's just like as long as you love the product and whatever you're using, and I feel like it's so easily seen through. I I'll call my friends out for it. Like, they'll be posting something, and I'm like, do you actually use this? I'm like, because this looks very branded. And, like, I don't know, like, I feel like I even try to do that with, like, my brand deal stuff. It's like, I don't want you guys to think that I'm just, like, doing this just to do it. Like, my makeup routine, like, do I use the products that I am posting? Yes. Are they on my face right now? Yes. So kind of just that similar thing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you want to try and be authentic with your branding too, because when you see a post that it's just like, this is okay, so they just sent you this and you just posted this.
Right.
Okay, got it. Natalie, how do you choose?
I always try to I know that there's a lot of brands that I work with that I don't even get a check. Like, I'll just be like, I like you, and I know you probably don't have a lot of money, or a small business, or a new company or a new brand. But I want to showcase you and represent you and show people who you are and what your product is. So align with everybody on what you've been saying, but I also think there's the other side of if you like something, show it off, tell people, and
no gatekeeping.
Yeah. No gatekeeping. Yeah.
We are here with Celsius, building your brand, presented by Celsius. So Kyle Watson, VP of Marketing, I'll ask you, what do you look for as a brand when you're identifying content creators to meet your digital business needs?
So we are absolutely aligned with what all of you said is authenticity is so key. We've actually made a very specific decision to not have an agency handle our social media because we want to make sure that we are very personally picking the people that we know love our product and that really truly drink it. We don't want to work with somebody just because they have a big following and that we're creating a brand. Yes, and does that person have to fit into what we're all about as a brand? Absolutely. But there's so many there's so many ways to look at that, and really the authenticity piece is huge. And we really want to make sure that we're talking about inclusivity and making sure that we are representing across the board, and that we want our consumers and people that follow us to really relate to us and it to be aspirational but also very inclusive and make sure that we're representing across the board. So we really want to make sure it's number one is authenticity.
And Katie Turoff is the Director of Social and Influencer Marketing. So Katie, what advice would you give, we're talking about building our brand, what advice would you give someone who's trying to break into that influencer space?
That's a great question. I think a lot of the time people are afraid to reach out to a brand directly. And I think it's a great first pass is just to introduce yourself, show off some of the content that you've done. How to get a brand's attention is definitely, like you said, just posting content if you love the brand. I get thousands of DMs a day, and a lot of the time, somebody who we never even saw, we definitely find new talent that way just by people posting content, which is awesome.
Yeah, reaching out, posting, tagging brands that you like and that you enjoy. Before we wrap, everyone give one quick little nugget of advice for either building your brand or breaking into the business, or just advice on how to handle your brand. Start with you.
Patience. Post exactly who you are, because if you don't post who you are, you're going to see right through it.
I think just go for it, whether it's reaching out to a brand or trying out for swim search, whatever it is, just do it.
I'm pretty sure I reached out to Celsius, and that's how I got this partnership. I'm pretty sure I DM'd them and was like, I love you guys, and then I just started posting organically, and now I work with them, so it works, guys, I promise.
Be authentic. Just be yourself.
Yeah. Network, meet everyone, big smile on your faces. You never know when you're going to see someone else again. I've met so many people across the different jobs I've worked in different brands, and paths connect. So always just be open-minded and kind, and it always works out.
Just be authentic and don't be afraid to post whatever that is for you, because the internet's a really large place, and there's for sure people that like the same things that you like, even if there's no one around you that likes the same things as you. There will be people online that like it.
I would say it's all up to you. Don't wait on an agent or a manager or anything. Yes. It's your business. You're the CEO of it. It's up to you. If someone's not doing something for you, reach out to them yourself and be like, I want to work with you. I'm a fan of you. Whatever it is. I've been through so many different cycles in life and different agents. I have a great one now. He's here, not ratting on you. No, just kidding. He's amazing. But it is up to you. It's in your hands. You're the CEO of your life, your company, your business, and just go for it, girls.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I would say, going off what you said too, Social media is free, you guys. Anyone can do it. I think that's the coolest part about it. You can open your phone right now, create a TikTok, create Snapchats, Twitter, Instagram. Anyone can do it. You have to put the work in yourself. And if you can't put the work in yourself, it's okay to ask for help. And I think that's what something like not enough people talk about. Recognize your weaknesses. We are all strong women here, but recognize your weaknesses too is really important in building a brand. And if you can't do it yourself, hire out. I just recently hired an editor, changed my life. So making sure that you have people to help you along the way, a good support system is really, really important. And also, of course, stay authentic, stay true to who you are. You know, the cliche thing, obviously, yes.
I think something that I had to learn very quickly was patience. I'm a TV host. I host Catfish on MTV. And period. It took me 7 years to book that job. I've been a host since I was 19. I'm going to be 30 this year. And I thought that I was supposed to be Oprah at 22. I was like, why am I not on TV? Why am I not getting hired? Like, I should be the best. Like, my mom was also telling me I'm the best, so obviously she is, right? But I had to learn that, like, good things take time, and sometimes when you want something so badly, and you think that you're ready for it, you don't even have half the tools in your toolbox that you need. If you were to get the opportunity tomorrow, would you be actually ready for it? And I had to learn that. So patience, give yourself grace. It's never too late. It's never too early to start. Like whatever it is that you want to start it now. And obviously, be authentic, be you. It takes too much time and energy to try to create a brand off of being somebody else. Be yourself. You'll get a lot further.
Well, you don't want to be a character.
Yeah. No.
And being authentic is yourself every day. You don't have to, because it's you. And that's the easiest thing to be. Thank you guys so much. This was so inspiring. Everyone was so amazing. Thank you to Celsius. Woo! One more time. I got to get on that show with you. I've been in the business 15 years. My first time working with Sports Illustrated, so. Thank you, ladies. We'll be back up here in a little bit with another panel. Enjoy this beautiful day.
Thank you.
Every girl has been obsessed with Sports Illustrated Swimsuit covers. They are iconic.
It's really going to change how women feel when they walk out in their swimsuit.
I've always dreamt of being on this cover ever since I was really young.
Quite a long journey so far, but it also feels like it's just the beginning.
Yes, she is.
I never thought in a million years that I would be shooting one myself.
There's more opportunity for us to fully be ourselves and confidently express our ideas and go after them and know that we really can do what we are capable of and being who we are. This big dream come true for me, and it was a special day.
I feel fantastic. I love the photos. I love the energy of the whole team. I'm absolutely thrilled.
Now it just feels like the sky is the limit.
Every girl has been obsessed with Sports Illustrated Swimsuit covers. They are iconic.
It's really going to change how women feel when they walk out in their swimsuit.
I've always dreamt of being on this cover ever since I was really young.
Quite a long journey so far, but it also feels like it's just the beginning.
Yes, she is.
I never thought in a million years that I would be shooting one myself.
There's more opportunity for us to fully be ourselves and confidently express our ideas and go after them and know that we really can do what we are capable of and being who we are. This big dream come true for me, and it was a special day.
I feel fantastic. I love the photos. I love the energy of the whole team. I'm absolutely thrilled.
Now it just feels like the sky is the limit.
Every girl's been obsessed with Sports Illustrated Swimsuit covers. They are iconic.
It's really going to change how women feel when they walk out in their swimsuit.
I've always dreamt of being on this cover ever since I was really young.
Quite a long journey so far, but it also feels like it's just the beginning.
Yes, she is.
I never thought in a million years that I would be shooting one myself.
There's more opportunity for us to fully be ourselves and confidently express our ideas and go after them and know that we really can do what we are capable of and being who we are. This big dream come true for me, and it was a special day.
I feel fantastic. I love the photos. I love the energy of the whole team. I'm absolutely thrilled.
Now it just feels like the sky is the limit.
Every girl's been obsessed with Sports Illustrated Swimsuit covers. They are iconic.
It's really going to change how women feel when they walk out in their swimsuit.
I've always dreamt of being on this cover ever since I was really young.
Quite a long journey so far, but it also feels like it's just the beginning.
Yes, she is.
I never thought in a million years that I would be shooting one myself.
There's more opportunity for us to fully be ourselves and confidently express our ideas and go after them and know that we really can do what we are capable of and being who we are. This big dream come true for me, and it was a special day.
I feel fantastic. I love the photos. I love the energy of the whole team. I'm absolutely thrilled.
Now it just feels like the sky is the limit.
Every girl's been obsessed with Sports Illustrated Swimsuit covers. They are iconic.
It's really going to change how women feel when they walk out in their swimsuit.
I've always dreamt of being on this cover ever since I was really young.
Quite a long journey so far, but it also feels like it's just the beginning.
Yes, she is.
I never thought in a million years that I would be shooting one myself.
There's more opportunity for us to fully be ourselves and confidently express our ideas and go after them and know that we really can do what we are capable of and being who we are. This big dream come true for me, and it was a special day.
I feel fantastic. I love the photos. I love the energy of the whole team. I'm absolutely thrilled.
Now it just feels like the sky is the limit.
Every girl's been obsessed with Sports Illustrated Swimsuit covers. They are iconic.
It's really going to change how women feel when they walk out in their swimsuit.
I've always dreamt of being on this cover ever since I was really young.
Quite a long journey so far, but it also feels like it's just the beginning.
Yes, she is.
I never thought in a million years that I would be shooting one myself.
There's more opportunity for us to fully be ourselves and confidently express our ideas and go after them and know that we really can do what we are capable of and being who we are. This big dream come true for me, and it was a special day.
And talk to this camera. Hi, this is Kate Bock, and welcome to How She Built It. I'm really excited about this series I'm doing with Sports Illustrated. I get to interview female founders, learn about their businesses, how they got started, and today we're doing a live interview at our launch in Miami. This is Leslie Sue, and she is the founder of Sunflow.
Hello.
Hello.
So happy to be here.
So nice to meet you. So we actually just did a panel, and we had our whole audience in your chairs. They have covers, they fold. I feel like everyone was the most comfortable possible. It's a very hot day, and they were shaded. So how did you come up with this idea?
It came up from just kind of being a beachgoer and always having to lug all the chairs to the beach, and what was out there just wasn't cutting it.
Yeah.
And there were really no other options. So, you know, one day we went to the beach, my husband and I and our 2 daughters, and set everything up. It was a terrible journey there, and I looked at my husband and I said, there's got to be a better way.
Yeah.
And he said, let's make a better way. So the journey began.
The journey began. So what makes your chair different? How did you guys figure out, like, I see there's a water or a drink holder, there's a cover, there's the straps. Like, how did you figure out how to make something different that was separate than what's on the market?
Basically, selfishly, I first designed the chair for what I would like to carry.
Yeah.
So I wanted to carry something that was super compact, and the straps were nice and wide and comfortable on my back.
Yeah, right.
So
when everyone, like, hates the digging in.
So the chair itself folds up very small, but it opens really big. So that was first. And then second was just that it reclined great, a lot of ease of function, and that it looked prettier. So the actual fashion of it was important because, you know, we all spend a lot of money on our bathing suits, our handbags, our flip-flops even.
Yeah.
And then all the accessories are just kind of what you pick up at, you know, a big box store.
Yeah.
So there had to be something better. And then the accessories were great. That was fun because, you know, I'd take the chair that we had designed to the beach, and I'm like, oh, it's so sunny.
Yeah.
So I designed a sunshade, but it has 2 panels, and it has UPF 50 fabric, so it actually protects your skin from the sun.
I feel like that's often a problem with sitting in the sun, and then you want it, but you're a little hot, or you want a break, or if you're eating, you maybe don't want direct sunlight, and there's nowhere to hide. So
it's all adjustable and folds back. And then the drink holder became a thing because I had water bottles, or maybe a small,
get sand all over them if you put them
can. So it adjusts. It size-wise, it
Oh,
adjusts
brilliant.
and rotates.
Yeah.
And then we did a dry bag because I often sit up by the water, and then the wave comes up, and then the phone is history. So if you put
that's
it
in the back too.
It's on the side. There's
on
a little waterproof bag.
Okay.
So there are things. I mean, every time I still go to the beach with all that.
Yeah.
We have a pillow coming. It's adjustable height. You know.
So cool.
Yeah.
So when you had the idea, how did you get started? Did you start sketching? Did you have a background in designing, or what was your first step? You're like, I have an idea. What do I do?
It's a great question. That's what everybody asks first.
Yeah.
I have designed handbags for a really long time, and not that handbags have anything to do with a beach chair, but in this case it does because it's the idea of having an idea, picturing in your mind, and then how do you get it made? Just a sample, and then how do you get it produced? So it's the same thing with a handbag. So there's a lot of synergies between any kind of retail, like a product that you can buy. Anything you can imagine. First, write down what you want, figure out why it's different, and why would people want to buy it. and then go to somebody else who specializes in that to help you put what you have in here on paper.
Did you have to go through multiple manufacturers or find the right facility? I know a lot of people are having issues now if they produce things overseas and they're having order issues. Did you kind of ever have to switch who was manufacturing or how you had it made? Or
So from handbags, I'm Chinese.
Yep.
And I speak Chinese, and I've always worked with
very lucky.
Chinese manufacturers. So they're great people, and they're really skilled at what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And we have had to switch manufacturers a few times. Sorry.
We are live. Can you hear the main stage also, or are we good? We'll just take a 1, 2, 3 break while they're speaking. I think it'll be over soon. Yeah. Almost over. Okay, we'll be good. Okay, sorry for that little intermittent break. We have presenters on stage making a lot of noise. Okay, manufacturers, switching manufacturers. How did you, pick the right one?
We actually launched in May 2020, if anybody remembers that time.
Yeah,
We just entered
rough
a pandemic.
times.
So it was very challenging in the beginning.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether it was good luck or bad luck. It actually worked out great. We had a pop-up in East Hampton, New York.
Yep.
And
one of my favorite places.
Everybody was on lockdown.
Yeah.
A lot of people locked down there.
Yeah, and went to the beach where you had space and you could be outside.
Exactly.
Maybe it was good timing for you.
We
Silver
like
lining.
to always look at the positive, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it
for
was great.
sure. Okay, so I'm a huge fan of Shark Tank, I have to say. I think I've probably watched every episode. I'm totally someone who puts it on every time I'm home. I did see yours, but I want to hear your experience. How did you apply? Were you so nervous? Like, how is that, whole kind of feeling when you're on set there? Do they make you do a pre-pitch? What's the story?
It was a long journey to get onto that show, but the application process was a lot.
It was?
But it should be because, I think 50,000 businesses apply per season.
Yeah.
So when you have to slim that down to 100, it really does take some cuts. So, there's a cut process, kind of like a Miss America pageant.
And they want them to be good, successful businesses. They don't want people who are just kind of wanting fame.
Well, they kind
or
of
sometimes,
want both, right?
Right,
You've
a mix.
seen those. So
yeah.
It was interesting. I think they want a story.
Yep.
Not just a product.
Yep.
And they kind of put us through what we would look like on camera. What's your story? Is it interesting enough?
Yeah.
And I think we got through enough. But I think a lot of the crew that was kind of going through everybody were big beach fans. So
Good.
that was in our, that was to our
In your
benefit
favor,
because
yeah.
they were fans of the idea and the concept. And
Yeah.
we had pretty good stats that first year, considering the pandemic. So that was nice.
Were you nervous? I feel like whenever I watch the show and they ask you about the numbers, I'm like, I'm, excited about business and excited about starting, but I'm not the finance person. So I'm like, oh my God, I would have to memorize the numbers and I would want to present them confidently and feel good about it. But I would get very nervous, I think.
I'm the same as you. So my husband, who's my partner, he's perfect with the numbers. It's
Okay,
great.
brilliant.
So we kind of
You're like,
play
I will-
off each other. I'll stay on the creative side. I'll touch
Yep.
on all the design and the function, the engineering, and then the numbers. He was like in a zone.
I got it.
It was great.
That's very
great.
nice.
But to answer your point about the nerves,
Yes.
it was totally amazing.
It
They
was.
were so welcoming.
Oh, good.
But one part that made you nervous is, when you walk down the hall.
Yeah.
And they
If
play
have the intense music.
right?
Yeah.
They
Very
didn't play
scary.
the music, but they said, "Okay, walk," and it was kind of. I heard the music in my
Yeah.
head.
You're like, I know what this is right now. Look confident, smile,
That was probably the most nerve-wracking part. But once you're in there, they're all smiling. They're all really. They understand that.
Yeah. This is scary and this is a nerve-wracking. Yeah, and you're being filmed. You're on camera. That's not normal for, everybody in the world to have cameras all over them and watching them.
Yeah, they're very sweet.
So you said you work with your husband. How is it founding a business and working with your husband, I guess, all day, every day?
All day, every day. Yeah, we've worked together on other businesses.
Yeah.
So we have good synergy. We stay in our lane.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's important.
So we respect what
Each
the
other's
other
skill set.
does.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of what he does, and he's proud of what I do. So it's not
and
at
both of
all
you
an
know
embarrassment to me to be like, I have no idea. Let's ask Greg.
Yeah.
Ask Greg.
Yeah.
And he does the same. So
Yeah,
it's-
that's really good.
Really good. But it does mean that we work all the time.
Yeah, you don't really get a break, right? You have dinner, then you're like, what did you do at work today? Yeah, so
Yeah.
it never ends. But it's also, you can work while you're on a trip or you're traveling or you're with your kids on your way to
That
school.
sounds
You
like a
can-
good thing.
No, yeah.
But
it never ends.
Strange. We had
Yeah.
we have 2 daughters, Willa and Lana. They completely. They had an intervention with us, I think, last
Did
summer, because we kept taking vacations because that's all we could do, just ourselves. We'd drive to a beach, and the 4 of us to be quarantined or whatever. And every time we'd sit down, we'd be like,
talk about
"Wait,
business.
Is this too far back? And I should make this. And can you take pictures? I mean, at some point, they're like, we have to be able to just
check out
for a minute. And we try to respect that. We try to have family dinners without talking about it, and we
it's hard to like plug in, unplug. It's a little. I think it's a challenge always to find balance, like in any industry, and work and home life, and that'll continue to be. But just do your best, I guess, is all you can do.
I mean, there are a lot of perks with this business,
for sure, for sure. So, is there anything that you've learned along the way that you would give as your best advice as someone who's starting out with a business and needs help or inspiration?
You know, what I always tell everybody is, because I've had a long career in lots of different kinds of businesses, you just never know who you're going to meet along the way. It really pays to be nice to everybody.
Yep.
I can't tell you how many friends and family and friends of friends have helped us get to every milestone.
Yeah.
And we couldn't be more appreciative, and you just kind of spread the love.
Yeah.
Really
I fully agree.
Really
I was talking to Camille, one of our other models, last night, and similar story as you really never know. Like, she came into her job because she met someone who talked to someone, and you never know. So I think kindness is always the best policy, and unfortunately I don't think it's that common knowledge to do that or know that, and a lot of people think you have to be cutthroat or rude to make it, but I think also being kind and having a good reputation and people knowing that you're reliable and trustworthy is a huge thing.
Yeah, and now that I'm on the older side of the business experience, it definitely pays as I look to younger people to work with us or for us, or be part of our team. Are they team players?
What's their deal?
Humble.
Things we all look for. Well, thank you so much. I really love doing this series. I'm so excited to be able to share this with you guys and to learn myself. I'm inspired by everyone that I get to interview, so thank you so much for giving us the time.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Every girl has been obsessed with Sports Illustrated Swimsuit covers. They are iconic.
It's really going to change how women feel when they walk out in their swimsuit.
I've always dreamt of being on this cover ever since I was really young.
Quite a long journey so far, but it also feels like it's just the beginning.
Yes, she is.
I never thought in a million years that I would be shooting one myself.
There's more opportunity for us to fully be ourselves and confidently express our ideas and go after them and know that we really can do what we are capable of and be who we are. This big dream come true for me, and it was a special day.
I feel fantastic. I love the photos. I love the energy of the whole team. I'm absolutely thrilled.
Now it just feels like the sky is the limit.
Every girl's been obsessed with Sports Illustrated Swimsuit covers. They are iconic.
It's really going to change how women feel when they walk out in their swimsuit.
I've always dreamt of being on this cover ever since I was really young.
Quite a long journey so far, but it also feels like it's just the beginning.
Yes, she is.
I never thought in a million years that I would be shooting one myself.
There's more opportunity for us to fully be ourselves and confidently express our ideas and go after them and know that we really can do what we are capable of and be who we are. This big dream come true for me, and it was a special day.
I feel fantastic. I love the photos. I love the energy of the whole team.
When I started as the editor, overseeing the issue was about 10 years ago, and one of the most important things that we decided to do initially was to expand the conversation around inclusion and body diversity, which we all know is a very real issue, and it's been a very under-celebrated issue in mainstream media. And I can remember that with the Robin Lawley inclusion and the Ashley Graham cover, it was such a awe-inspiring moment, for us as a brand, because the response of the public was at the time very mixed, and it was like such a unique situation in our industry, a long overdue one, but there was so much negativity at first that was then also countered by overwhelming positivity. And what we realized and what we knew when we were going forth with that is that this was such a much needed change in our industry, and it was time for that change. And I'm kind of rambling right now because there's so much to talk to around it when you see yourself represented, and when you are finally out there and looking at a woman that you can relate to on a different level. And we're all up here, we're all wildly different, right? And you all see something in one of us, I'm sure, and that's the intention. But just the opportunities that I now see so many women being able to experience and see themselves doing, whether it's like landing on a cover or just being able to go out on the beach and feeling wonderful about themselves, which we all very much deserve to do. It's the little changes and it's the big changes, to the fact that I can go into Bloomingdale's and see curvy mannequins that are representing different body types, and I can see how I might look in a certain garment rather than a different body. It's just it's wild. I could go on forever, and I will do that. And as you all know, I talk a lot, but I'm gonna stop. But it's just the endless possibilities are now open to all of us, and that's the power in what we're doing and what we're continuing to do. And it's body diversity, it's skin tone, it's age, it's what you're doing as a job, and what you want to do, and being put in a box and allowing yourself to really fight for what you want to be, and not just limiting yourself to that one thing and that somebody once told you couldn't do because you were a certain type of person, So.
Yeah, and there's a lot of power in that. To your point, that's why there's so much to say about it, because it's inspiring to be able to think about all of the possibilities. Kelly, how have things changed for you? What kind of doors have been opened because of this shift in inclusivity?
Oh, everything. I'm just so thankful for this moment, because it kind of brought on somewhat of a moment for myself personally, because I went through this. When I first had my son, it wasn't a curved division at that time. It was either you were a size 2, and it was at that time where there was a plus size division, so you were a size 16, and I was at that time a 6 and an 8, around that range. And when I first was modeling before I had my son, I was a size 2. And so now not only was I dealing with getting back to work, but I was also dealing with this situation of, are you gonna lose weight? What's going on? And for those of you that know my story, I had a long recovery, and it wasn't so easy to bounce back. And I think that there's so much pressure on women today to bounce back. and become what you were before you had a mother. And being that I did choose this profession, and I've been modeling over 22 years, and I'm so thankful, but I was like, what am I gonna do? Am I out of a job now? Because I can't, my body's just different, you know? And I just realized that I was like, okay, what's gonna happen? And thankfully, when my son was born, it was the end of 2018, and then somewhere along the way in 2019, the doors started to open and things started to shift in the fashion industry, where clients and brands were looking for size 6 and 8. And that hadn't happened before. And I was like, we need to fill this demand, and obviously women can relate to all sizes. And this really shouldn't be limited to one size or another, because that was your option, basically. And I was like, you know, this is so important, it means so much. And I'm just so thankful for MJ, because I feel like Sports Illustrated has really just shown this, like, this evolution in fashion, how it's changed, and inclusivity and embracing these changes. And so not only do I have a scar now, but I'm a mother, and I'm now a size 6'8", and you know, and I'm working, and it's now a normal thing, and that's something that's so beautiful. But these, thank you guys. But I think that also these photos just meant so much to me personally, because I had never shown my scar. And it was something that I struggled with for a really long time, with a lot of insecurities, and what would happen if it shows, would I not get the job, like what's gonna happen? And when I saw the response, so personally this meant the world to me to see these pictures, but when I saw the response from women and how it impacted them, and it didn't just impact women with C-section scars, I got messages from women that they had a hysterectomy and had a scar, and it really always bothered them, but after seeing me, a woman told me, hey, I put on a two-piece this weekend for the first time ever, and I felt so confident in it. And that is what makes our jobs, like, being that we're models, and we can obviously take beautiful pictures, but when you impact people's lives, that's what this is about. And I'm just so happy to be a part of this and what this means for all of us. So,
Hunter, you posed in this year's issue 6 months postpartum and looked stunning, of course, as you do now. Can you share your experience about this special shot in Belize and what it meant to you? And to add on to the question, what kind of doors have been opened for you because of this inclusivity movement?
Yeah, so MJ had texted me when I was about 3 months postpartum, and she was like, listen, say no, but we would love to have you in this issue. And I didn't even have a second thought of it. Like, I was like 100%. I know my body wasn't what it was the year before or even the year before that. I had gone through a wild year, and I thought, wow, I'm in such a stage in my life that so many women find themselves in, and I'm gonna celebrate that, and I'm gonna appreciate this body that just did something so, like, massive and beautiful, and I have this amazing baby. And I'm gonna take back the narrative that once you become a mom, you lose yourself, you lose your sexiness, you lose your body, all of that. And so I said, absolutely, I'll do it, like 100%. And SI has been with me since I was 22 years old. At every stage of my life, like, they have just appreciated me, my body, my journey, and they've never told me to change. Like, MJ's just been like, yeah, you just had a baby, we still want you on, come on. And I think that that's so powerful. And I mean, God, my entire career was jump-started with Sports Illustrated. I now have a clothing line with QVC. I have a podcast. I host my own show. I'm the ambassador for Olay, one of their faces. Like, it's really been amazing, yeah. And, you know, all thanks to MJ, she takes these, in the fashion industry and in this world, it's taking a chance because people don't do it yet. Sports Illustrated is one of the first really to kind of take that jump and put people on covers that you wouldn't normally see on covers, put people in the issue that you wouldn't normally see in the issue. And it is a chance for them because that's, you know, you're basically saying, okay, what have we been seeing for so long that's been successful? Let's change that. And it's all about changing the narrative and taking back that stigma and just really honoring women as we are. And I think that that's so powerful. And I can see today with like all these incredible women who have come, and I've just met so many of you, and you all have incredible stories, and this is what it's all about. It's all about this women supporting women, championing one another, And that's like what MJ brings to every single shoot and every single issue, and it just keeps getting better and better.
Well, you mentioned a couple things there that I think are important, and one is, you know, your body does go through changes in life. You know, you go from a teenager to a woman, and then, you know, if you become a mother, your body can change again. And the most important thing is having a healthy body. And we have so many pressures to look a certain way, and when you see representation of different body types, then you start to accept, like, I don't have to look like this in order to be considered beautiful or powerful or successful. So seeing those things, seeing those different images really enforces that. And as mothers, C-section scar, 6-month postpartum, grandmother, women, we go through all different stages in life, and you're able to see that. So now let's talk a little bit about being a mom. What is something that you wish someone had told you before you became a mom, May?
Gosh, I don't know. I just brought up my kids the same way as my parents brought me up. They worked hard. They were good people. They were Canadian. I was born in Canada, grew up in South Africa, and they made us very independent. And we were pretty much responsible for getting ourselves to school and doing any sports or choosing our professions. And in the same way with my children, they started helping me. My daughter was taking phone messages. I'm a dietitian, and I had a practice at home because I couldn't afford an office. And she would take messages from the age of 5. Kimball was cooking meals for us at the age of 7. I'm a bad cook. And then Elon started keeping us in the front of technology. So then I was the first dietitian to have a website. I was the first one with a laptop.
That's cool.
And what's a cursor? What's a mouse? I mean, those were the days. And you figure that out. So my children have been very helpful to me. And I just taught them to be helpful to people.
MJ?
I'm like, I'm sitting here thinking, like, there's so many things I wish. I told May on the plane yesterday, please write a book about child rearing because I need to read it. You know, because I have 2 boys. I have a 16-year-old and a 7-year-old, and they're so wildly different. And I was an only child, so I did not have the luxury of observing siblings and, you know, what you would do in that instance. And, you know, I find that I'm like learning how to be a mom to my little guy all over again because he's so different from my big guy. You know, they're 2 completely different human beings. I mean, duh, but they are. And, you know, the way I parented my older son is not how my younger son needs to be parented. And that is literally, I'm starting over from scratch with the little guy. And it's wild because I really didn't anticipate that. I thought, oh, look at me, I'm going to be a pro now. I have one, and look at how he turned out. He's easy, he's great, and the little one is absolutely, like, he is wild. And so I really have had to go back to square one with him, and it's a journey. And you know, sometimes I get frustrated because I'm like, what am I doing wrong? You know, is my schedule too much? Am I not giving him enough, you know, and it's just about really accepting that he's a completely different little person. And I have to give myself some grace because I do beat myself up a lot about, you know, what I could do better and how I could be more, you know, how I could do more as a mother. And I do everything I humanly can. And sometimes stuff goes wrong, and sometimes you have to learn from that, and sometimes you have to evolve out of it, but at the end of the day, you always have to give yourself that grace because you're never going to do everything perfect. And I think that's been my biggest, like, oh, I wish somebody had told me that because I've suffered a little as a mom, you know, wishing I had done things differently, or how I couldn't have noticed something, you know, or why I sent him to school with a fever and I didn't think to take his temperature. You know what I mean? Like, it's everything. Moms are special people because we're working really hard on all the fronts, both personally and professionally, and it's just to give yourself some grace.
Kelly?
Definitely. Does it work? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
To follow up with what MJ said, it's funny because my son is 3 now, so I feel still like a new mom because it's a forever pivot and change because they go through so many different phases. So I only have one son, but within that one son, there's 400 personalities, you know, and you don't know what you're going to get today. So, I mean, when he's good, he's amazing, and when he's bad, it's difficult, and to say the least. And nobody warned me about terrible, I don't know why there's a terrible twos, because definitely nobody mentioned 3. Like nobody told me what happens at 3 years old. It was like 2 weeks before his birthday and I was like, I don't know you anymore. I don't know what to do with you.
So
Who are you? Because he was generally like a pretty easygoing kid and I'm very thankful for that. And then just now it's just like, I'm not doing this and I'm not doing that and I'm not helping you walk the dogs. I'm like, well, you're not staying here by yourself. So what are we gonna do? And I think that that's why moms can really like lean on each other, as MJ was saying. And I think that's the most important thing. And giving yourself grace 100%, because you're gonna have days where you might not react the best to something like that. It's very difficult sometimes. And every kid is so different from each other, but also within themselves. And what they need in that moment is so different. So I think that it's so important to have that flexibility within yourself. But I also think it's good to understand that kids are forever evolving, and the good news is they won't hold it against you normally, especially when they're 3. But and lollipops come in handy. So I mean, but definitely it's forever changing.
You know, it's funny, when I had my son, I thought, while I'm pregnant, I'm at like the height of my career, I guess it's over, and that's just what I was always told. And then I had my son, and I got this like rush of, oh, I'm just getting started. Because I think as moms, we have a really bad rap in society that like once you become a mom, you're just mom now. And I'm really working hard to change that narrative of we actually can do it all if we want to. May's on the cover at her age, and she is a mom, and she had this like resurgence of now she's a supermodel, like, you know, and it's like she's always been, but it's like we actually can do it all. And I think that we have to know that and own that and know that like just because you're a mom doesn't mean that you live your life solely for your baby. Of course you do that, but also don't forget like you are still so worthy and so powerful and so incredible and deserve to live out your dreams, deserve to do what you want to do. And if you have that accessible to you, go out and do it and grab it and own that, because this life is so short. And don't listen to what society has to say about being a mom. And we really paint them in moms in such a way of it's like, we're pretty effing cool. We're like super women and we can do it all if we want to do it all.
Yes. You are super women. And to the point that we spoke about to begin with, the inclusivity and the shift in that, you all being in the magazine and MJ doing such an amazing job of showing different types of representations for women can inspire people to believe everything that they're saying and buy into that and live that. Moms are everything, not just mom. So I appreciate being up here with all of you today. Let's give a round of applause for our amazing panel. Thank you so much. It was wonderful to be here today. And we'll have one more panel today. Thank you all for being here. Enjoy the day and spend some time in the different areas. We appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, guys. And as a special treat, our partners at Freedom Mom have graciously provided gift bags for all of the moms out there. So if you're a mom, we've got some gift bags for you next to the stage. And thank you again.
Thank you, Freedom Mom.